Welcome back, everyone. It is a pretty start to the day, especially if you like it to feel a little bit more like fall and winter, right? Which means 'tis the season of the holidays right around the corner, which 'tis the season of giving, and that means racking up tons of debt on that credit card for a lot of people, unfortunately. If you're one of your New Year's resolutions is maybe to consider bankruptcy options, you will want to avoid the biggest mistakes bankruptcy filers make during the holidays. So this morning we're joined by Jonathan Frutkin. He's an attorney with the Frutkin Law Firm. They have two locations in North Scottsdale and in downtown Phoenix, talking about how to stay out of debt. This is something we should take all year round, of course, but especially during the holidays, it gets bad.
It does get bad. I mean, one of the biggest things that you hear all the time is set a budget, but nobody tells you what that is. So
and how many people actually do it, right?
Well, that's the second step, right? But everybody will tell you, you know, for that diamond engagement ring, you're supposed to spend a certain number of years of income. For the holidays, stick to 1 to 2 weeks of income. If you set your budget, that's your first step.
That would be the first thing.
It is.
And it's 1 to 2 weeks of your income is what you should be spending for the holidays.
That's all you should spend. I mean, the second thing that people do typically is they'll make a list. Here's the people who need gifts. I always say, put 2 at the bottom that say, I forgot. Because you are going to forget, and that way you have some opportunity to go ahead and get them those gifts when you forget and still stay within that budget. And the third thing is, of course, everybody says use cash, but I got a little better idea. Go to the drugstore, go to the convenience store, get that debit card, and just buy enough for the holiday season. That way you don't feel like you took your lunch money out of the holiday shopping and you have the right amount.
I like that idea. When we talk about, you know, so many people unfortunately getting in the red during the holidays, what are some of the signs that you're heading into deeper trouble? We all maybe accrue a little debt during the holidays more than not, but when is it a sign that, hey, this could be some serious problems?
Well, where we see the problem isn't holiday shopping. People don't come to a law firm and say, I'm in big trouble because of holiday shopping. What happens is an unexpected event, a job loss, medical issue, and sometimes a family medical issue. And everybody says you should have 3 to 6 months worth of income set aside as an emergency cushion. Of course, nobody does. But whatever cushion you do have, don't cut into that cushion just for holiday shopping. Just find a reasonable amount of money and then stick to it. And the sticking to it's the hard part.
Well, it's an emergency fund for a reason, not emergency holiday shopping, I would take it. How are we doing here in Maricopa, here in the state, when it comes to filing bankruptcy? Are the numbers improving?
Bankruptcy filings are down. I mean, they track really nicely with the fact that real estate prices are starting to recover. So that's a very, very good sign. On the other hand, there are still kind of the traditional reasons why people file for bankruptcy, the job loss, the medical issues, and all those things, including the new kind of student debt issues that people are having. All those things combined are still keeping some people in a position where they have to file bankruptcy.
And credit card debt is actually improving. We're seeing less of it, but there's several reasons for this.
That's true. I mean, one reason is, of course, even if you have good credit and had a credit card, they cut your credit card limit. And so everybody sees less. And also, there's not 14 or 15 free credit card offers every day in your mailbox, and that's because there's just less credit card money available for the consumer.
And what's your tips when it comes to using credit cards? How many? I think, I think most people have one that they set aside for emergency, maybe one in your wallet. What's the general rule?
Yeah, the general rule is the less different credit cards you have, the better. Because you'll always feel fine if you have a very low balance on a credit card. But if you've got 10 or 15 of them with $200 or $300 balances, all of a sudden you owe an awful lot of money.
And before we go, what's your final tip in when we do see those credit card bills starting to come in for the holidays? Where do you start in paying them off?
Well, the key is, number one, you have to make that minimum payment. If you don't, you're in big trouble because they're going to start getting you with the fees and it's going to ruin your credit. Make sure to make the minimum payment, but also remember, the smaller payments you make, the more interest is accruing, so pay them off as soon as possible.
All right, and I lied because I said that was the last question, but I was just wondering, when is it time to go seek some help from a professional like yourself, because it can get scary and you can get into a worse situation if you don't get that help?
There's a tipping point for people, and what I usually tell them is once they owe about half of what they make in any given year, they should start thinking about it. We see an awful lot of people who owe more than they make an entire year in credit card debt, and that's just a result of
credit card debt?
That's a result of medical bills, or they've lost a job for a few months and they've been living on the credit card, and the interest will accumulate so quickly that there's no way out.
All right. John Frutkin, let me thank you for letting us pick your brain. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Again, John's with the Frutkin Law Firm if you need some help, and most importantly, hope you heed the warning for saving your money and using less credit card this holiday season. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Still ahead here on the show.